Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the Russell Berrie Foundation, making a difference. Fedway Associates, Inc., the Fidelco Group, United Airlines, Valley Bank, PSE&G, committed to providing safe, reliable energy now and in the future. The Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, St. Joseph's Health, world-class care just around the corner. And by ADP, always designing for people. Promotional support provided by bestofnj.com, all New Jersey in one place. And by New Jersey Family Magazine, a resource for New Jersey parents.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
Here it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are, there is always something to learn.
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No.
People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
This is Steve Adubato. This is Uncut. And once again, we're joined by our good friend, A. Dorian Murray Thomas, founder and CEO of She Wins. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. So happy to be here. How are you doing, Steve?
Doing great. Last time you were in the studio with us, and we will be back in that studio at NJTV soon.
That's right.
We talked about race. We talked about confronting racism. We talked about social justice issues. Put in perspective, as you were part of the series called 25 for 25, as we recognize 25 winners of the Russ Berrie Making a Difference Award. It's their 25th anniversary. You won that in 2018 for the work you're doing with She Wins. What is She Wins, and why does that work matter now more than ever?
That's right. So when I created She Wins, I wanted to create a space for young women who shared my story of being affected by violence. Our goal at She Wins is to really create an ecosystem where young women, regardless of their stories, zip code, or circumstance, are empowered to win. And so we have three core tenets: sisterhood, service, and self-actualization. And our goal is to really kind of create this space where young women in the city of Newark are able to use their stories to help catalyze change. And so when I think about the Russ Berrie family, right, which is committed to honoring leaders and change makers in the state of New Jersey, a lot of the work we do at She Wins is quite similar to that, but specifically working with young women in the city of Newark who've experienced some form of trauma, but are using those stories to overcome and actually create change in their communities. And so it was an honor to not only get the award and obviously have the type of support that it gave to our organization, but to bring my girls there. I had about 6 or 8 of our girls who actually came with me on the day. That's right, because you were there and we talked and you met some of them. And so it was such a beautiful experience to be a part of the Russ Berrie family.
Well, you know, it's interesting, and I've disclosed this before. I've been hosting that event from the beginning, and 366 people over these years have been recognized for their extraordinary work making a difference. In this particularly challenging time, Dorian, that we're living in with COVID, with horrific issues of racial and social injustice that must be addressed sooner than most folks think they need to be addressed. Help us understand what that award and the recognition, because we met each other, and then you've been on with us many times and will continue to be. You're on the Board of Education in Newark, right?
That's right.
Your career and the work you're doing is expanding. Any of that have to do with the award?
Oh, that's such a beautiful question. I mean, when you think about the moment we're in as a country, in the moments that exist in places like the Russ Berrie Award ceremony, there's something really special about just, celebrating good things happening in the world. And at a moment where we're really kind of facing an unprecedented intersection of a number of crises, it's so important that we create space to celebrate the good, to celebrate what's happening positively, to celebrate youth and young voices. And so, when I think about having gotten the award in 2018, and then literally a year later, making history, becoming the youngest woman ever elected to the school board, doing so with my young people, many of which who were with me at Russ Berrie, right? Working in that campaign with me. It's all about how do we, even in the muck and the mire, make lemons, turn lemonade out of lemons, right? And really kind of celebrate the good that's happening. And I think part of what that requires us to do is to just acknowledge the power of young people, acknowledge the power of our voices, and acknowledge the power of our stories, and really kind of lean into that even in those difficult moments. And so, yes, now more than ever, being a part of Russ Berrie, being a part of a space where we just recognize the good that's happening feels really special at a moment in our country where we really need those types of victories.
So let me follow up on the Berrie Foundation, the Russell Berrie Foundation, a leading philanthropic organization committed to really making a difference and recognizing those who do. Describe the role that you see, not just for the foundation, but for the larger philanthropic community when it comes to confronting racism. And people will see the chyron on the screen. We've been doing a series of programs, and we'll be doing it for the foreseeable future called Confronting Racism. What is the role of the philanthropic community in the fight to confront racism and the fight for racial and social justice?
So for me, I'm admittedly biased because I work with young people. And so often that's kind of my lens, right? How do we ask any question from the lens of how does this affect young people, and how do we make sure this is serving them? And so the philanthropic community has a huge hand in how young people are being developed and shaped, right? Be it from after school programs to what's happening in the school. There's a huge connection between the philanthropic space and the experiences that young people have on a daily basis. I think the first step is really thinking about how can we invest our dollars in giving spaces for young people to have really critical, tough conversations around issues that are affecting their lives and are affecting our worlds. When you think about what our kids are learning in school, what they're being empowered to think critically about in the classroom, and then how they're being empowered to use that in the real world, right? In the civic space, in the public space. Are we really using the time that, kids have during the day from the time that they have in school to get them to have conversations that are difficult, right? About racism, about class, about environmental justice, about healthcare, these mucky and messy things that we're as adults are wrapping our heads around. How good would it be if we got kids to start having these conversations early?
And doing it remotely, and saying the digital divide complicates things, and also, frankly, highlights some of the racial and social justice issues or injustices that are out there. You had a quote you told our producers, I want to get this right. Yeah. You said when it comes to young people, they know what's going on. It's the bleeding, not the wound. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about, I've been spending a lot of time just paying attention to what young people are saying and doing during this moment. And as surprising as a lot of this has been to them, some of it hasn't been, because they've been knowing for years that these issues are going on. And so when I say it's the bleeding, not the wound, right? A lot of the unrest, a lot of the discontent is actually symptomatic of these deeper issues that have existed long before March of 2020, long before what we are calling the digital divide now, but frankly has been an issue for years, right? In terms of young people from different socioeconomic classes and statuses having access to internet and technology. What we're seeing is the bleeding from a wound that's been here for quite some time, and now we just have to reckon with the manifestations of it.
Well, let's just say this, as challenging, as daunting as these issues are, there are leaders like you, and I'm not just saying this because we're friends, but because when I met you at the Russell Berrie Awards, the Making a Difference Awards on 2018, I knew that we were all meeting a special leader. I knew that while 366 people have been recognized over the years, there's something really special about you. You have work to do. You're doing it now, but I guarantee you'll continue to make a difference, and we will follow you. And you have an open invitation to our, not just the Russell Berrie Foundation family, but to our family in public broadcasting. Dorian Murray Thomas is the founder and CEO of She Wins, and she is a proud sister in my hometown, Brick City. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much, Steve. You guys stay safe and stay blessed during the season. And it's always an honor to be here. Thank you for the work that you do, because I know it's not easy having these real tough conversations. First of all, making the choice to do that during such a time. And so your role as a leader and trailblazer in media and in our community, it speaks so much volumes. I'm honored to be in your space. So thank you for having me. Thank you for the work you do. And, looking forward to continue for us to shine. Thank you again.
Very kind of you. Thank you so much, Dorian.
Thanks, Steve.
We'll be right back.
To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
Welcome to Uncut. I'm Steve Adubato. This is part of a series called 25 for 25, where we're recognizing 25 very special people who are making a huge difference. The reason we know is that these folks have been recognized by the Russell Berrie Making a Difference Award organization. That foundation is celebrating 25 years of doing this. I've been hosting that event for all that time, and one of the folks I met, you're about to meet on camera right now, Zamir Hassan, founder of Muslims Against Hunger and the founder of Hunger Van. He's a 2014 honoree of the Russell Berrie Making a Difference Award. Good to see you, Zamir.
Thank you very much.
Tell folks exactly what Muslims Against Hunger is all about.
You know, I am a new generation of American. I came here 48 years ago to go to grad school at Cornell. And I was in IT when there was no IT. So I was doing very well. I was living in Bedminster. My son was going to a charter school. And I ended up going to a soup kitchen first time as a chaperone with my son's class. And this is Morristown, New Jersey, one of the second richest town in New Jersey.
That's right.
We fed more than 200 people. I was literally shocked. Right in the middle of Morristown, which is the second richest city in New Jersey, we fed more than 200 people. I was literally shocked, and I started talking about this. And as I was talking to my friends and neighbors and all that, they said to me, Zamir, this may be the richest country in the planet, but we have a lot of people who are hungry.
That's right.
And right now, we used to have 49 million people, and it just, with this coronavirus, it went up to 36 million, just in past few months. So that kind of got me motivated, because I grew up bringing food to my neighbor when I was 10 years old. My mother will cook the food, and I knew exactly where to bring it. So I started regularly working at the soup kitchen in Morristown. And then I got more involved, and then I realized that as we are feeding at the soup kitchen, what about the people who are at the train station? What about the people who are hanging out in the park? So I came up with this idea of Hunger Van. So we took a van.
That's the Hunger Van, right?
Yeah. And we took a van, wrote on it, put a sign of Hunger Van on it, and then we will make food in some location and then take the food in the street. So Hunger Van now is just in New York City, feeding 5,000 people every day.
Wow.
We go around in different parts of New Jersey and bring the food to people, because Hunger Van has figured out where these hungry people are. So we go park the van and take out the food, put hot food, put it on the street on a table, and people come. And
but Zamir, excuse me for interrupting you, Zamir. You're thinking of going national and international, right?
This is international. Our program is in 30 cities, 7 countries, and it's growing.
And let me ask you this, pre-COVID, were there plans, Zamir, for the Hunger Van in the Holy Land?
The Hunger Van in Holy Land, we started talking about after 2014, when I met with Mrs. Russell Berrie.
Angelica Berrie, you were an honoree in 2014, right?
And we kind of became friends now, and she keep asking, okay, so where are you feeding next? So I went to Israel in 2017, and I saw the hunger issue in Israel is exactly same as in New Jersey. Mm. And if you look at how big Israel is, it's like New Jersey. And the hunger issue in Israel is as very equal to New Jersey. So when I came back, I said, you know what, we should start a program there. And one thing, what I did, I named it Hunger Van in Holy Land.
Right.
So then I talked to Mrs. Berrie, and she said that, of course, tell us what we can do. And I was going there in January, and then this whole coronavirus started. So I was very close to start that program in Holy Land. And the whole idea was that I am part of a program which brings the Jewish kids and Muslim kids every year in Chicago and San Diego. So I basically grouped with those people. And then we have trained more than 300 kids already from there. And they're all excited for us to bring Hunger Van there.
So let me ask you this, Zamir.
Yeah.
You were honored in 2014. You get connected to the Russell Berrie Foundation. What the things you say about Angelica strike home with me, because in our friendship for well over 2 decades, she's always connecting us with other people, always has different ideas, like together with the staff, the terrific staff and the board at the Russell Berrie Foundation. And in fact, they support our not-for-profit as well. Question, what message would you want to send to the Russell Berrie Foundation, the Russell Berrie Making a Difference Awards, this 25th anniversary? What message would you send to them on this anniversary?
I would like to say that we should bring the peace to the world through my, little help from me. So and Angelica Berrie is behind that program, that we want to start as soon as possible, Hunger Van, in the Holy Land. So we could travel back and forth with Jewish volunteers and Muslim volunteers and bring peace there.
There is a lot of work to be done. And we want to thank you, Zamir Hassan, who's the founder of Muslims Against Hunger and founder of Hunger Van. You are one of 25 of 25 that we recognize. And we thank you so much for joining us and wish you and your colleagues all the best with the work you're doing, making a difference every day. Thank you, Zamir.
And thank you, Steve.
We'll be right back after this.
To watch more one-on-one with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. We are joined right now by Brenda Antinore, who is director of She Has a Name, a ministry of Seeds of Hope, 2017 winner of the Russell Berrie Making a Difference Award. Good to see you, Brenda. How you doing?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Tell everyone what She Has a Name is and why it matters so much.
She Has a Name is a ministry to women who are suffering in addiction and resort to prostitution on the streets here in Camden, New Jersey. These are women that come from our neighborhoods. They're somebody's mother, sister, daughter, friend, and they just really lost their way and need hope. And so the ministry is so important because the ladies really need a loving touch, one that encourages them to really take that step, and just step out of whatever brought them here. Nobody wakes up one day and decides that this is the way they want to live their life. And so we love the ladies. They're beautiful to us, and we're going to fight for those who can't fight for themselves.
How'd you get involved and why?
Wow. Well, the short part of that story is, without saying a lot, is about 25 years ago in my own personal life. My husband and I, he was a lawyer, I was a high school health teacher with 6 children, living in the suburbs, found ourselves in some serious marital problems. The unfortunate result of that was an introduction to cocaine, which took us down a road of devastation for about a year. And during that time, a lady who was a neighbor who lived next to us in the big neighborhood that we lived in, instead of looking at us with disdain and disgust, moved towards me with kindness and love. And to be very honest with you, my life has never been the same as a result of that. And so my husband spent some time in federal prison. He was a real estate attorney for HUD. And obviously with addiction, a lot of things happen that you would never do. And so during that time, he was just very, very burdened for men, their families, the destruction that can happen as a result of a bad decision. And really the whole ministry of Seeds of Hope started reaching out to men coming out of prison many, many years ago in a very family, real style way, like, hey, these are the real problems that we face. Let's be men together and, you know, kind of talk through these things and walk through these things. And the ministry just grew. And, you know, the Shan ministry grew as a result of coming in and out for many years.
She has a name. That's the acronym,
she has
right?
a name. Right. And seeing these young women just in utter desperation and misery standing on the main road here, and it just gripped my heart like that this could be my own daughter. And so it started with some cold bottles of water in a very hot July summer, which this past July was 15 years since Shan started. Started with kindness, phone number, and some love, and it's just grown beyond anything that we could have ever imagined. And I can't imagine, Steve, doing anything else today. I'm so grateful to have the peace and the freedom that I have today, and that's available to anybody, you know, so.
Brenda, you know, I'm thinking about the fact that when we met each other in 2017 at the Russell Berrie Making a Difference Awards, we got to be together, and it was pre-COVID, obviously. So my question is, what has the impact of COVID been on the ladies, the women that you're working with, their lives, and the challenges and problems they face?
Yeah, that's really a great question. I have never honestly seen so many women, Steve, on the streets in the entire time we've been here. And I think the impact, more women, much more heightened level of desperation, because many of the resources just for basic needs, you know, being able to get a shower, being able to get food, being able to get a change of clothing, being able to even get an encouraging word, to be honest with you, you know, listen, that pretty much all that went away. So you find that, and listen, these women are disabled completely by addiction, almost to a woman. I'm not saying there aren't other circumstances, but for the most part, that would be sort of the catalyst, and maybe underneath of that, some, you know, guilt, pain, shame, whatever. We were able to, really by the grace of God, stay present. And so we really just transitioned. We have been talking about being fully on the streets this summer because—
But how are you helping them? Are you handing out masks? What are you doing?
Oh yeah, masks, hand sanitizer, clean clothes, personal body wipes that can be used, you know, in any and every situation. The hardest part, I think, is that we have lost some intimacy in the way that we relate, because we're very, you know, we've built a family kind of community. You don't hug in the
same way, you don't touch in the same way, you don't connect in the same way. Is that fair?
Difficult, yes, and fair. So for me, I would say probably more so than my team member, which even my team, you know, to be very honest with you, I have about 3 ladies right now that are on a rotating basis with me that go out, because most of my team members are mothers that have school-age children at home, and, you know, they're all doing virtual learning and stuff, you know?
Yeah. Let me try this. I'm gonna make sure I get this in. The Russell Berrie Award, what did it mean to you, and what does it mean to the organization?
Well, I mean, first of all, it was a tremendous honor. I never even in a million years expected to even be noticed. Nor was I aware of the awards. So for me, I was very humbled, to be honest with you, just to be in the company that I was in. I was so impacted that day, you know, of the award ceremony, just to be in the company of people who are just have a burden, and they just are following it. I'm telling you, it was great. And then later that year, Steve, I think I had mentioned to you that, and here's a great impact, we had desired to have a home in another county for ladies returning if they had gone to rehab for over a year, or into some type of faith-based program where if they wanted to rebuild and didn't have a safe place to go, mind you, not a halfway house, but a family home. And that happened. We closed on a house February 2018. And I know, it's awesome. And we've had a couple of moms come through that had babies and have gone back out and are on their own now. And we've got a couple of ladies there. And we had a tough year in 2019, a lot of loss.
Yeah.
And that was very difficult year, very difficult.
Yeah, Brenda, I hate cutting you off. We're limited in time, but
Yes.
I need to say this to you. We've met hundreds of people. The foundation has recognized over 300 winners of this Making a Difference Award. And everyone is special in their own way. But the work you're doing is absolutely extraordinary with you and your colleagues. Be well, keep us informed, and you're welcome back anytime on our program on public television.
Thanks. Thanks,
All the
Steve.
best. I'm Steve Adubato. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Russell Berrie Foundation, Fedway Associates, Inc., the Fidelco Group, United Airlines, Valley Bank, PSE&G, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, St. Joseph's Health, and by ADP. Promotional support provided by bestofnj.com and by New Jersey Family Magazine.
Hi, I'm Eric. You might see me as an ordinary person, but I've been living with a brain injury for nearly 2 years. One of my struggles is short-term memory loss. At Opportunity Project, I'm given hope and support, and I've gained my confidence back through the job placement program. Despite my challenges, I have a reason to keep improving. Today, even though life has changed me, I believe that anything is possible.
If you have a brain injury, you don't have to face your road to recovery alone.